Good evening, friends. Today we will have a special session from Sri Krishnamurti Lakshmana, who is an acupressure and acupuncture specialist. Actually, he is basically a bachelor in electronics engineering student, but he left all those and he joined for this alternative therapy. Now he is giving his special, all his ability, all his time for this traditional energy, traditional Chinese medicine. He is the master in advanced diploma from the acupressure from the Institute ASPS. We all know that. Already he had given so many sessions in Joshi's Kerala group. That's another thing. Today he agreed to give some basic thing about this acupressure and acupuncture. Now, on behalf of all of you and on behalf of Joshi's Kerala group, I am welcoming Sri Krishnamurti Lakshmana to this platform. Good evening, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome, and now you can take and get the session. Thank you so much for your coming here and you're giving this class for us. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay. I wanted to correct one thing in the introduction which ma'am gave. She told that I'm an expert in the field of acupressure and acupuncture. So I don't consider myself an expert. Okay. I'm nowhere close to being an expert. I'm still a learner. Okay.
No, so that's your simplicity, because we all are seeing so many messages from you, so many protocols from your side. Okay, and we are seeing your YouTube videos also. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, and I know acupressure and I don't know acupuncture. Okay, so I will know the fundamentals, the basis of acupressure and acupuncture is the same. Only thing is that on the point we use needles in acupuncture and we use magnets in acupressure, or some seeds in seed therapy. But the way the things are diagnosed, the analysis, the principles, everything is the same. Okay. Today, this class came about, like we had a Joshi sir and I were having a casual conversation, and sir told, can you take today's class? I told, okay. And what to take? Something on fundamentals. So I thought I will take something really fundamental. Okay. Only when our fundamentals are strong, super strong, then we flourish as a good therapist. Okay, so if our fundamentals are weak, then it is very easy for a therapist to get stuck in between. Okay, so those who depend on ready-made food, okay, those who don't know how to cook their own food, okay, so the people who depend on ready-made food, they get stuck. Okay, they always have to go to Dunzo or some other delivery system, Zomato. But those who can cook their own food, whatever little ingredients are there, with that itself they can prepare a meal. Okay, so that is the ability to which all of us have to rise to, where our fundamentals are rock solid. Okay, so based on that I've just completed my Master Advanced Diploma Honors in Acupressure Healing Science. But while I was a student, I observed, daily I used to observe, there were many fundamental mistakes that many of the students or therapists that used to make. and it used to bother me a lot why they are doing such silly mistake. Okay, so this class, even though this is very basic, I would think this class, the next 2 hours that you will be spending, will be one of the most valuable 2 hours that you will be spending in the field of acupressure, in terms of learning the field of acupressure. So I request all of you to pay full attention and try to absorb what I am trying to say. And we will have opportunity to have ask any of your questions. Okay, I like having a very interactive session. Okay, the class. Okay. First is any science which comes up has a philosophy behind it. Okay. For any science to develop, there has to be a philosophy. And what is the philosophy based on which the entire TCM, that is the traditional Chinese medicine, this system has been developed? Okay, what is the foundation on which this whole system has been developed? That is what we will try to understand. If this becomes clear, so many of the mistakes that you do in your diagnosis will be sorted out. Okay. Now, this TCM was invented more than 1,500 years back. Okay. Now, I want all of you to go, let's say, 1,500 years back. Okay. Okay. Imagine yourself that you were that Chinese philosopher or Chinese practitioner who is trying to develop that new methodology of TCM. Okay, so now you will be developing the TCM, and what should be your thought process, how you should think. Okay, that is what we will try to understand. So we will see through the eyes of those Chinese philosophers who invented the TCM. Okay, we will see, we will use their eyes, and through their eyes we will try to see. It is only my understanding, because there is no way that we can understand what they thought, but we can guess what could be their thought process. Okay, so what were the abilities or the skill sets that they used to come up with this beautiful philosophy, okay, or methodology of called TCM? I think that it is based on deep observations. Okay. Every minute thing which is happening in and around the body, in and around the nature, they used to observe so keenly. And they used to have intuition. What is intuition? What is intuition? Yeah, I think you cannot unmute yourself, right? Okay, that's okay.
Ability to know, sir.
Ability to know. Okay.
Earlier, before something happens.
Okay. Ability to know before it happens. Okay. And what else? What else? What is intuition? Prediction? Okay. This is the way that I think. Mindset, sharpness of thought. Okay. Okay. So now, any problem which is there is a sequence to the solution. Say now there is a problem, okay, of the sixth sense. Say now there is a you have to go from place A to place B. So now there is a sequence. First, you have to go straight, then take a right. From there, take a left. Then you go straight, then take some turn. And then, so it is a step by step process to reach from a problem to solution. So let's say there is a problem. And you have to reach to a solution. Okay. Now, what is there in that? It is there with multiple steps. Step 1. Then from there you go to step 2. From there you go to 2. Step 3, etc., 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 and you come to step N, and then you reach the solution. So this is called linear thinking. This is called linear thinking. Okay, only after I cross the step 1, I will understand what is step 2. And after I cross step 2, I understand step 3. Okay. So then after I cross 100 step, then I will understand what is 101 step. This is a linear thinking. Logical thinking. This is also called logical thinking. Now, what is intuition? Intuition is you somehow know for this problem A, this problem B is the solution. So for problem A, B is the solution. So you don't have to go through this sequential step-by-step process. So you somehow, there is a different mechanism through which you know this is a problem. As soon as somebody say this is a problem, you know intuitively that this is the solution. It is so clear. Okay. So this bypassing of all the sequential steps is called as intuition. And if you ask someone why B is the solution for A, they are not able to give a logical answer, because in logic there is from A to B, B to C, like 1 to 2, 2 to 3. There is a sequential thinking. You will be able to understand. But in intuitive thinking, you know the solution, but you will not be able to trace back why. If somebody asks why this is that solution, then it becomes difficult to give an answer. But here in logical thinking, if somebody asks why, then it is easier to give an answer. Now, this logical thinking takes long time to arrive at the solution. And intuition is very quick, you know, like this. Okay. I will give you an example. Okay. This session is all not TEM students, no? TEM students, or is it a generic class?
TEM students.
TEM students only, right? Achha, okay. How many classes are over in this batch?
15,
15 classes are over. Okay, fine. So I will take one example. And sir would have probably discussed this, or if not, probably he will discuss later. Okay. So in TCM, inhalation. So we have inhalation and exhalation. So as per our modern medicine, okay, the Western sciences, Which organ manages the inhalation and exhalation as per modern science? Okay. Inhalation is managed by lungs and exhalation is also managed by lungs. But as per TCM, who manages the inhalation? Which organ manages the inhalation? Kidney. And who manages the exhalation? Lungs. This we all know. But why? Why kidney manages the inhalation as per TCM? Why kidney manages the inhalation? Anybody knows? No? See? Coldness. So what? So what? Lung sends key to kidney. So what? Why it could not have been the other way? Why inhalation by lungs and why not exhalation by kidney? Controls water, so what? To collect the moisture from atmosphere, kidney essence stored. Okay. So how many of you think the amount of key from lungs to kidney is demanded by kidney? Root of key, kidney controls lungs as per 5-element theory. So how many of you think that the answers that you are giving is something which is satisfactory? Is it a satisfactory answer that you are giving? Is this a satisfactory answer that you are giving, that you all are giving? No, there are different answers that you are giving. I am not telling it is neither right nor wrong. Okay, I'm just observing what you are telling. And my only question is it convincing enough? Probably not, right? If you go and tell this to a medical doctor, Western allopathic medical doctor, they will laugh at us. Okay, because why will they laugh at us? Because there is no logic, right? So the TCM people intuitively knew that kidney is involved in inhalation and lungs is involved in exhalation, but they could not give a logical or scientific answer. Why? Because why were they not able to give those sequential, logical, scientific answers? Because they did not have any there were no modern machines. Okay. So you are just sitting and you are trying to understand by keenly observing. So now with this, so now what is the the more and more we can convert this intuitive knowledge to logical knowledge, it becomes easy to grasp the subject. Okay. Because when the philosophers created this knowledge, it was mainly based on intuition. But if we can break down that intuitive ability into logical abilities, then our ability to understand the subject becomes much, much easier. And that is what we are trying to do, okay, to make it more logical. Everything should have a proper reasoning. Okay. Now with that, let me come back to the slide. Okay. So these ancient TCM philosophers did not have any of the modern medicines, machines to diagnose a patient. But still, they were able to diagnose people and solve their problem. Okay. Without no reports, no x-rays, no scans, no tests, nothing. Okay. Absolutely no modern apparatus, nothing. But still they were able to diagnose and they were able to solve the problem. And this science has lasted over many thousand years. Okay. And it has been successfully, it is a time-tested science. So how are they doing it? Any clue? Think. Put yourself into their shoes and think. With pulse and tongue. Acha, okay. And like even if they have to, like if you hold a pulse, okay, observing everything in relation to elements. Yeah, good. Keen observation. If you observe something very with the focus, then you will be able to understand what is happening, what is the play which is happening behind it. Okay, so they had that keen sense of observation. So now we will try to understand what could have been their thought process behind creating this system or this science, medical science. So all of you have seen this. I hope that all of you have seen this sugarcane crusher, okay, through which you extract sugarcane juice, right? So now this is a machine, and into this machine there is some input which is going in. Okay, so that is the sugarcane. The sugarcane is going into the machine, and from the machine there is two outputs coming. One input is going and two output is coming. What are the outputs? One is the sugarcane juice. The juice is one of the output, and this fibrous material, okay, the waste is the other output. So there is a machine, and to this machine there is one input and there are one or more output. Okay, so this is how the machine functions. The basic entity of a machine is there is some input to the machine and there is some output to the machine. Okay, so like your TV, what is the input to the television? You have electricity and the signals. Say your satellite signal is the input, and what is the output? The display that it is giving is the output. Okay, and let's say what is the input to the car? The input is the fuel, and what is the output? The movement of the wheels is the output. Okay, so every machine has some form of input and some form of output. Okay, this is the fundamental. Now convert this into the human body. So basically whatever I was telling, a machine, there is an input and the machine processes that input and gives the output. Okay, this is the simple flow. There's an input, The machine processes that input and gives the output. Now, using this, by understanding the attributes, so how did the TCM people think is, now there is an input which is going. So you understand all the attributes of that input and you understand all the attributes of the output. By doing this, now you can connect, link, and make an educated guess that this could be happening inside the machine. Okay, by understanding the attributes of inputs and outputs of the machine, the functioning of the machine can be understood. This is the method of diagnosis, diagnosing the body in TCM. Okay, this is so crucial that so many therapists make a mistake here. Okay, so this is the process. Okay, what is there in your hand? Say, I will come to this and then explain this. So now the same thing. Instead of machine, let's use the human body. Human body is also a machine, but it is a biodegradable machine. Okay, it is an excellent, the most sophisticated machine built out of tomatoes, potatoes, rice, dal, roti. This is the ingredient through which this fabulous, infinitely complex, sophisticated, the most sophisticated creation in the entire creation is this human body. And this human body is made out of what? Whatever I told. No, those simple things that we all eat. So this biodegradable machine, this also has inputs and this also has outputs. So what is the input to this biodegradable machine? It is the food, water, air that we breathe, and we can also take into consideration the input is sunshine, the rays from the sun, and probably the electromagnetic field from the earth. Those are all very subtle kind of inputs, but grossly, if you have to understand, say the food, water, air, these are the main inputs which are going into this machine. And what is the output which is coming out of the machine? The output which is coming out of the machine is, say, anything which comes out of the human body, say saliva, mucus, the menstrual fluids, the lactating mother's milk. These are all the byproducts. Okay, and the waste products are like we had this jute, right? The fibrous material. So this was a byproduct and this was a waste product. So similarly, in our human body also, we have these waste products, which is like stool, urine, sweat, the carbon dioxide. The air that we inhale has oxygen, but when we exhale, it has carbon dioxide, etc. So these are the waste products which are coming out of the body and byproducts, outputs of the body, and there are a set of inputs to this human body. And as a result, the body grows. From a small baby, the body grows and the child becomes big. The human body itself is a output. Okay, that also is the product itself is the output. Now we have, let's say, this situation. Now how does the TCM think? We take all the inputs and try to understand all the attributes of the input. I will tell you what it means. Okay, then we will take some examples and take all the outputs and take all the attributes of the outputs. Okay, and then try to analyze, and then that will give the clue what is happening inside the human body. This is the fundamental process of diagnosis. Okay, the whole TCM is built on this philosophy. So, but if you exclude this philosophy in your diagnosis, then you are committing a mistake. Okay, I will tell you how. So now let's take one of the inputs and take one attribute out of it. Let's say water. Water is one of the input. And what is the attributes of that input? Okay, that is being considered here. Say, is the person drinking more water or the person drinking less water? That is one attribute. Is the person drinking hot water or cold water? He prefers hot water, room temperature, or cold water. That is another attribute. Let's say he drinks sip by sip or he gulps. That is another attribute. So there can be more attributes like this. Okay, the person drinks water more in the mornings or drinks the water in the evenings. Okay, all of these are different attributes of the input. That is one of the input, that is the water. So by understanding this input, by understanding the attribute of this input, what can we get? What can we understand? Let's say the person is drinking more water than normal. Say instead of say 2 liters, the person is drinking 3 or 4 liters. Okay, you ask the patient, how much water do you drink? The person says 4 liters. So now, how should your mind think? How should your mind think? A person, let's say let's say summer. Let's say in summer, he is drinking 4 liters of water. Or let's say 5 liters of water. What should be happening in your mind in terms of diagnosis, in terms of understanding the machine? Water is an input, and I understood one attribute of the input. Based on that, I am trying to understand the machine now. There is more requirement of water. That is why he is drinking more water, right? Why will a person drink more water? Because there is requirement in the machine which is asking for more water. So what is the situation in which there is more requirement of water? Probably there is too much of fire inside the body. That is why he is asking the patient, the person is drinking lot of water. There is lot of heat inside the body. So this is the diagnosis based on the attribute of the input. Now let's say the person is supposed to drink 2 liters of water, and in summer itself, the person is only drinking 1 liter of water. What could be the diagnosis? What could be the diagnosis? Say the opposite. Earlier, there was a lot of heat in the body. That is why the person was drinking a lot of water. Now the heat may be less. That is why the person is drinking less water. Or there is already a lot of coldness accumulated inside the body. That is why the person doesn't require that much amount of water. Right? That could be the diagnosis. Now, let us take some other example. Let us take one more output. Okay. We took the input of the water. Now we will take an output. It is, let's say, stool. And we will try to understand all the attributes of the stool. Is the stool well formed like a rope structure, or is it very loose? Is the stool having digested food, or also it has some amount of undigested food also? What is the color of the stool? Is it dark brown, or is it golden yellow? What is the color of the stool? What is the smell of the stool? Does the stool have lot of foul smell? It has mild smell, or it has no smell? Okay. Is there any kind of difficulty or different sensations which is experienced while passing the stool? So is there any burning sensation experienced? Is it pain? Is there any pain associated while passing the stool? Is the stool hard? Is the stool soft? Etc., 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 etc. There are so many attributes about the stool. Now, each one of them is giving me some clue. It is giving me a clue on what could be happening inside the machine. Say if the person's stool is it has a foul smell, excessive odor, what could be happening? If the stool has smell, lot of smell, what could be happening inside the machine? So it is, whenever there is excessive smell, it tells that there is some form of heat. Okay. Say now you prepare a very good dish, okay. No, a good halwa. Okay. You prepare a good halwa. Hot halwa has more fragrance, or cold halwa from the fridge, that will have more fragrance. A halwa which is heated on the stove, will that emit more aroma, or the halwa which is kept inside the fridge and taken out, will that have more aroma? Right. So the hot halwa will have more aroma, more smell, and the cold halwa will not have much smell. Right. So because the stool is also having the same property, the stool is having so much smell, it means that there is a lot of heat. On the other end, the stool has no smell. Okay, like stool has its own typical smell. Okay, mild, small amount of smell will be there. But if the stool has no smell at all, means, what does it mean? It is, there is lot of coldness. That is why no smell is coming. Okay. So if the stool is very hard stool, what could be the problem? What could be the problem? Yeah. Once again, heat. So if there is too much of heat, what happens? All the water gets evaporated from the stool, and the stool becomes hard. Say you have roti, okay, no, chapati, or so if you heat it too much, what happens? All the water gets evaporated and your roti becomes hard, right? So if there is lot of heat applied, then the roti becomes hard. Similarly, if there is lot of heat inside the body, it is becoming hard. So if somebody tells that the stool is hard, then what is the diagnosis that I'm making and trying to understand the machine? More heat is there somewhere. Okay, I have to understand where. Okay, so this is how I take each of the input and each of the output and try to understand all the parameters of the input and output. And with that, now I come to a diagnosis of what is happening inside the machine. Okay. But now what is happening in the current scenario? Like when people ask for some protocol, okay, some solution, what do they say? So there is diabetes. What is the protocol? There is BP. What is the protocol? Please give an effective protocol for high BP. This is the question that I ask. But where is high BP written in TCM? Is there any high BP here? Any low BP here? Any diabetes here? Anything else? No. Basically, you have to go back to the input and output and then analyze. Say if there is diabetes, is the person having more hunger? Say the person, let's say the person is having excessive hunger. Then what is the treatment? What is the analysis? If there is a excess hunger, too much of coldness can also lead to hardness of the stool. Now, I was just giving you one example. There are so many different ways, permutation and combinations that you will have to apply and come to a conclusion. Hunger is more, right? So probably there is more heat. Okay, there is a yagya. You put swaha, swaha. If the fire is more, the more you put whatever food, the things that you put into that fire, it gets burnt out. So similarly, there is a fire inside our stomach, which we call it as stomach fire, or in Ayurveda, we call it as Jataragni. Okay. So if the fire is burning heavily, there is a lot of fire. So how much ever you put into the fire, it is burning it off. So the person feels lot of hunger. No, you put more, you put more. Okay. So if a person is, if the person is having lot of hunger, probably the reason is there is more fire. See, some people are getting stuck in coldness also. See, you will have to, I'm just taking in one example, right? Say stool is there and it is hard. Then I was telling probably the heat is more. Now I am not able to do a conclusion based on only one symptom. Okay, because there could be some other reasons also. If it is heat, what else will be there? Okay, the stool is hard. Probably it is because of heat. If that is true, then there should be some other symptoms also, right? Yes. So if it is because of heat, then probably the person will feel more thirsty. And to satisfy that thirst, he will drink more water. So the person is trying to drink more water, and also the stool is hard. Then the clue is, yes, no, it is matching. So it is probably the heat. Now the stool is hard, but the person doesn't drink water. He dislikes water. He tries to drink hot or warm water. Then probably there is some kind of coldness. So if there is coldness, how will be the stool? It will be hard, but also there will be no smell, right? I will have to do this. I will have to match the puzzles. If it is because of coldness, then there will be no smell also. If it is because of heat, then there will be a lot of smell. right? So this is how you put the puzzles. Okay. So because of excess heat, if there is excess urination, so what could be the reason? Excess urination. So you will have to see the color. The color is clear. It means that there is some coldness. Now, all of these things you will understand in further when you understand the diagnosis. But I am only trying to give you how should be your thinking. Okay. Now, the modes of TCM diagnosis is there are many different attributes. Say the patient tells symptoms. Okay. There are so many symptoms. There is pain here. I don't get sleep in the night. Okay. I get sleep in the afternoon. Like there are so many different kinds of symptoms that the patient tells. So all of that symptoms, you will have to make a note of it. And attributes of body inputs, all the body inputs, you'll have to make a note of it. Attributes of body outputs, all the outputs which are there. Okay, what are the attributes? Okay, the stool, urine, etc., sweating, your sleep, all of that you have to make attributes of it and try to note down. Sleep pattern, and what are the emotional states? What are the likes and dislikes? What color the patient likes? What the color patient dislikes? What is the taste that the patient likes? What is the taste that the patient dislikes? And you have to observe the body. Is there any bulge somewhere? Okay, is there any abnormalities? The nails has any lines, or is there any discoloration on the skin? Okay, there are so many attributes that you will have to observe in the body. You have to observe the tongue. You have to observe the pulse. All of these things are the modes through which you gather the information. You gather the information, and now you are in a stage to process the information. So much of information you have to gather, and then through that, now you process, and all the dots will connect. If your analysis is right, multiple dots will connect properly. Okay. And now this is the right way to do the diagnosis. Now I understood what is happening inside the body. Now, how do I treat? What are the modes of treatment? These were the modes of diagnosis. And the mode of treatment is either you use acupressure through magnet or seed, etc., or you use acupuncture through the needles, or you use Chinese herbs, or you use some exercises, Qigong, or you use moxibustion, giving heat on specific areas of the body. So these are all different modes of treatment, and these are all the different modes of diagnosis. Okay, so the more strong hold that you have on these attributes of the diagnosis, the better the therapist that you will become. Okay, now the major flaw that is being seen is the people don't ask these attributes for the input and output. Okay, the patient will say, I have a knee pain. Suddenly, what will happen? What is the protocol for knee pain? What do you think? This therapist, is he a good therapist or a ordinary therapist? Very, very ordinary. The patient says, I have a headache. They will put a message, protocol for headache. Is there a protocol for headache? Is there a protocol for headache? Is there a protocol for headache? There is no such thing as one protocol for headache. The headache can happen for many reasons, many reasons. How can you have one solution when the cause is so many? Right? So whenever somebody asks this one-liner question, okay, so you should understand they are not able to think beyond that. Okay. So there are so many different types of headache, and there are so many different types of solution. There is no one solution, and the same applies for many things, almost everything. Okay. So if you have to, there is a saying that the devil is in the, where is the devil? The devil is in the details. Okay. The devil is in the details. The patient has already told that he is having a headache. Now, what is that you have to do? You should not only get stuck at the headache level. Okay. The patient himself has told that the patient has headache. Now, your role is to understand why the headache is coming. Is it coming because there is excess of wind? Or is it coming because of the excess of heat, the fire? Or is it coming because of low circulation? Is it coming because of stagnation? There are so many reasons. Or because there is some kind of injury, or because there is some lack of sleep, or there is stress, or because there was a lot of screen time to the eyes. There are so many reasons for a headache. How can there be one protocol to solve all of these? Not possible. Right? So this, for every patient, you should ask about the attributes of the input attributes and the output attributes. And based on that, like, this is just the introductory class. You will have so many more information you will have to gather and analyze it. Then you will get a proper root cause. And when you treat that proper root cause, the solution will be like a magic. Right? So instant, beautiful results will come. Okay. For that to happen, what should you do? You should gather proper data and then analyze the data properly. Okay. So any question in this part, whatever I have taught? Anybody who has questions, probably you can raise hands, and no, ma'am will allow you to speak, or you can put it in the chat. Sometimes patient, Shally says, sometimes patient misguides us. They themselves don't know about the color and smell of the urine, stool, etc. How many liters of water they drink. Okay. So now you will have to be little clever. Okay. You cannot ask ask them approximately how many liters of water you drink. Okay. Or say if somebody is using different, depending on the commodes, etc., they may not be able to observe the color of the urine, etc. So now at that point of time, you keep that as a question mark and ask them to observe next time when they come. In that way, you will have to educate the patient. Okay. Now the patient is not trying to misguide us. They are not well informed. No, so we have to guide them. So collect as much data that you can get this time, and you guide them how to provide the data for missing data next time, so that next time when you get the data, you will have a much better picture. Okay. Lakshmi Kona is asking how kidney inhales breath. Okay, interesting. Okay, okay, I will explain it later as much as I understand. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Pain by injury, we should ask all these. See, it is the chronic kind of situations which are there. Then you have to go, without fail, you have to ask all of these things. But if it is pain due to injury, it is obvious. The person fell down and there is an injury, then most likely you will work on the local points and some quick healing points. Those kind of things will be done if it is a obvious acute situation. If it is a chronic situation, yes, then you will have to dig deep properly. You have to collect data. So no other question. Even in dehydration, we get headaches. There are so many reasons, hundreds of reasons we get headache. No other question? Okay. So do we generally take a break for 5 minutes and then continue, or like it is one continuous 2 hours? If the patient has a medical report, should we collect data? Will the medical report tell what is the smell of the urine? Or will the report tell how much sleep does the patient sleep? What time the patient sleeps and what time the patient gets up? How much food he takes? What is the taste that the person likes? All these information, is it there in the report? See, this whole technology, I will say, this technology of TCM was developed to treat a patient without the help of the reports. Was there any report in those days? See, as a additional data, you take the reports. As an additional data, you take the reports, the information in the reports. But based on that additional or supplementary data, only I will treat. That is a mistake. That the information that we are getting from the reports are only supplementary in nature. It is the physical data, it is not the energy level data. Very good. So it is a supplementary data. You have to collect the main data. What is that main data? This is the main data. This is where the whole crux is there. Okay. I have no hunger. My appetite is very low. I have excess hunger. Okay. I like to eat fried items, okay, oily junk after having a meal. There are so many. This fundamental, the whole science is developed to diagnose a patient based on these inputs and not based on the reports. And if you are getting a report, well and good, it is a supplementary data and not the main data. And there are some cases where it will be a main data. That is a different thing. Okay. Say somebody has a block, okay, in the heart, and which location there is a block. The report tells properly. Okay. So now you will be able to concentrate. Okay, this is a place that we have to treat on. Say there is a splenomegaly. Okay, the spleen has increased in size. Okay, so but from external examination, you will not be able to understand, but the report tells, okay, the splenomegaly has happened. Okay, now it is a valuable data. You take it and you use it to treat the patient. So Satya is asking if symptoms tend to be on both sides, few symptoms contradicting the other, unable to conclude on one side. That is the more mastery you have in understanding these data, the better the therapist you are becoming. Day by day, the more you practice, everything will start falling in place, right? That is where the mastery comes into picture. Okay, so what we will do, we will take some 5 minutes break and then we will rejoin and continue with the next part. Will that be okay? Is that right? Ma'am, is it okay? Okay, so we'll take a 5 minutes break and then we will rejoin. Can we start? Can we start?
Yes, sir. Please continue. Thank you.
Okay. We will discuss a little bit of ki or chi today. Okay. So it's the same chi, ki. Okay. It has many different names. Okay. In Indian medical system, we call it as prana. Ayurveda, we call it as prana. Somebody calls it as bioenergy. Somebody calls it chi, ki, vital force. All of them is being referred to the same thing. Okay. I call ki as ki. Okay. Many people call it as chi. I call it as ki. It is the same thing. Okay. It is this philosophy that you will have to understand. Okay. What is that we are treating is this invisible energy. Okay. For some time, we will understand this as invisible energy. This is a very deep subject. Lot of elaboration is there, but we will try to keep it restricted to the clinical understanding that is required. Okay. It is so, okay, I'll get back to the clinical way of thinking. And whenever the philosophical way of thinking is required, I will try to share that also. Okay. Now, to understand this chi or ki, okay, before we understand that, we will try to understand our wiring system in the house. Okay. So let's say that there is our house is there, and in the house there are wires, and inside that wire there is electricity which is flowing. Okay. So the house is there, and in the house there is electrical wires, and inside the electrical wire there is electricity flowing. Okay. So here the house is visible, the wire is visible, but the electricity which is flowing inside the wire, it is not visible. It is invisible. Okay. Now with the same analogy, we will try to understand our human body. What TCM says is, just like the house, our body is there. And just like the wires, these meridians are there. Just like the electricity which was flowing in the wire, similarly inside these meridians, the ki is flowing. Right? So, just like the house, our body is there, and inside the house there is wires. So similarly, inside our body there is meridians, and just like inside the wire the electricity was flowing, so similarly inside this meridian the ki or chi is flowing. What is the difference is, there the house was visible, here the body is visible. There the wire was visible, here the meridian is invisible. You can't see the meridian. You can see the pathway through which the blood flows, the arteries and vein. You can see it. You can see the pathway through which the lymph flows. You can see the pathway through which the food flows, your intestines. You can see the pathway through which the air flows, that is the lungs. But you cannot see the pathway through which the ki flows. The meridians you cannot see. It is invisible. It is not imaginary. It is very important to understand. Some people say it is imaginary. No, it is not imaginary. It is invisible. It is a very tangible thing. It is a tangible thing, but it is invisible. Say now your telephone signals, mobile signals are invisible. Is it visible? The signals which are there around the mobile phone? No, it is invisible. Can we say it is imaginary? No, it is real. The signals are real, right? Only because the signal is there, you are able to see today's class, isn't it? So the meridian is invisible, and the energy which is flowing through that invisible meridian is also invisible. The key is invisible and it is flowing through that meridian, and by flowing it is nourishing the entire body. Okay. Let's try to understand a little bit more about the key. Key is so expansive that the entire universe is made out of key. Right? The entire universe or the entire creation is made out of key. So it is so encompassing. Everything that you can imagine in the universe is made out of key. So now we will try to understand that through which the universe is created. Okay. We will try to understand that through which the universe is created. And with the same thing, your body is also created. Okay. So this, we all know that there is 5 elements, fundamental elements through which the human body and the whole universe is created. The 5 fundamental elements. Okay. What are those? Those are elements are visible. That's wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Okay. I'll remove this. So these are the 5 elements, and each element has its own energy. Okay, say there is water, which is an element. Now, when you touch the water, what does the water give? It gives coolness. You feel the coldness. Okay, so the energy of the water is coldness. How many of you don't know this 5 elements? Can you just click on raise hand button? How many of you don't know the 5 elements? Because if there are enough people who don't know, I will explain more. That is the only reason. Because if you all know, I don't want to go into the depths of it. How many of you don't know the 5 elements? So nobody is raising hand. So it means that everybody knows. How many of you know the 5 elements? Click on raise hand button. How many of you know the 5 elements? Click on the raise hand button. Out of 160 odd, some 40 odd people have raised the hand. What about the others? They neither told that they know, nor they told that they don't know. So they don't know that they know, or no, don't know. Is that the situation? Okay, fine. Fine. I will try to present the, see, you may all have understood, or you may be knowing about the 5 elements, but I will try to present that same content in a different way. Okay, so it will be a new learning. So you try to understand, even though it is, you may be knowing this, but the presentation, the way that it is conveyed will be different. Okay, so I was telling, there is water. When you touch the water, you feel the coldness. That is the energy. Coldness is the energy, and the water is the element. Similarly, there is fire. Okay, and you go close to the fire, you feel heat. You feel fire, or you feel the heat? You feel heat. So heat is the energy and the fire is the element. Okay, so similarly, there are 5 elements and each of them has its own energy. Okay, wood has an energy of wind, fire has the energy of heat, earth has the energy of humidity, metal has the energy of dryness, and water has the energy of coldness. Now, you club all these 5 energies. You club all these 5 energies together, that gives rise to ki. So ki is the summation of 5 invisible energies. Hence, ki is also invisible. Okay. So for now, you understand this statement. There are 5 invisible energies, and when you put these 5 invisible energies together, you get ki, through which the entire universe and everything inside the universe is created. Okay. So I have written this in the form of a statement. Ki is invisible, and these are the 5 invisible energies through which the ki is created. Now, how do we understand it? Let's go one step little bit more. The proportion of these 5 invisible energies determine the quality of ki. So the ki has 5 energies. What is the proportion of these energies will determine what type of ki is there. Okay. Since 5 energies, if equal proportion, then each energy will be 20% of ki. Let's say, okay, let us say, so there are 5 energies. So if you, okay, hotness is based on 6 ki. Say, the philosophy was developed over a period of time. Okay, and in the recent time, Professor Park Zewu, he developed the existing philosophy and added one more 6th element called hotness. But that hotness is not there in the traditional Chinese medicine. Okay, the original one. Okay, so it is a different form of fire, hotness. Okay, so we will not discuss hotness now. We will just discuss the 5 elements. So let's say you divide it by 5, 100 divided by 5, you will get 20% each of them. It is, there are some things which are, say, the question is, what is the difference between heat and hotness? Say, Fedwa Agnes is asking. Say now there is flame. Okay, I will draw this. Okay. Okay. Somebody has got this question. I will just quickly try to answer this and then we will get to this. Okay. Now let us say this. You have a fire. Okay. Fire is there. This is fire. Now, when you keep a vessel on top of it, okay, what will happen? The contents in that vessel will get cooked. Okay. So the contents in that vessel will get now this energy which is cooking the food is heat. And now if you are standing somewhere little far, now what are you getting? You are getting the warmth from the fire, right? You are not getting cooked. Are you getting cooked when you are standing at a distance? No, but you are getting the warmth of the fire. And this warmth that you are getting is called as hotness. Make sense? Whoever had asked that question. Okay, great. We'll get back to the slide. Okay. Let's say we have this 20%. So then it is in an equal proportion. Okay. When proportion of these energies vary, the nature or quality of the key also varies. Say when it is in equal distribution, like 20%, it is in one state. Now imagine this heat, instead of being 20%, it becomes 60%. And in the remaining 40%, all the other energies are there. Now, this is also key, and this is also key, but this key is more dominated by heat, right? It is dominated by heat predominant key. Similarly, it could be if wind becomes more, then it is predominant of wind. If the coldness becomes more, it becomes the key is predominant of coldness. So it can take any different proportions. Okay, so I will just quickly come back and try to explain one more concept while we are here. Okay. Quickly. This is element energy. Okay, so this is what we have. And this is an important aspect to understand. When you combine these, the first three energies, it becomes yang. Okay, it is a detailed subject. I will not get into the details of this today. Probably in some other class we will discuss. When you club these two elements, the bottom two, it will become more yin in nature. And when you club all the five, you will get yi. Right? So the first three, when you have that clubbing, when you club the first three, that is wind, heat, and dryness, it is called as yang. And when you club the bottom two, it is called as yin. And when you club all the five, it is called as ki. So what can I say? Ki is equal to yin plus yang. Right? Can I say that? So similarly, ki is equal to humidity plus coldness plus heat plus dryness plus wind. This is clear? Is this clear for everyone? Say yes, nod your head. Say yes, no. I can't see many people's face. Yes, no. Nagaratna. Yes, no. Shally, yes. Yes, Shally. Yes, ask a question. Type it. Okay. Shally has some question. Okay. Humidity is change of yang to yin. Please make screen full. See, this is my way of seeing this. Okay. See, some people may make this as neutral, but I have put it into yin. It is my way of understanding. It makes your understanding so much more simple, because no, I'm answering to Shelley. Dryness is yang. How? Okay. Say no, for time being, understand the way that I am explaining. Okay. Say you have a, say, soft roti, and you have a dry roti. Which is more yang and which is more yin? You have, so dry roti is more yang. Soft is more yin. Why? Has more water, has more dryness. So water is what? Water is yin. And dryness is more yang. Clear? Huh? So similarly, there is hot roti and cold roti. Which is more yang and which is more yin? Hot roti is more yang because there is more heat, and cold roti is more yin because there is more coldness. Okay, we will take another example. So there is a fluffy roti like pulka, like a puri. No, it is bulged with air, lot of air. And other one is a flat, thin roti. Okay, which is more yang and which is more yin? So fluffy roti is more yang, and flat roti is more yin. Why? Because it has, fluffy roti has lot of air inside. So in flat roti there is no air. Okay, fine. This much is clear. So this if you understand, so many things will become clear to you, as we progress. Okay. I'll go back to okay, I will not go into the organs. What is key stagnation? Okay, we will understand. So this key, which we were telling that it is invisible in nature. Okay, if we kind of, this invisible key is in terms of the meridians. Okay, say I will come back to my screen. I'll try to write. Okay, see this, let's say we have a human body. Okay. Let's say this is the human body. And in this human body, there is, let us say, there is meridians which are flowing. There are meridians which are flowing. And inside that meridian, there is ki which is flowing. Okay, inside that meridian, there is ki which is flowing. Okay. Okay. So here, meridian is invisible. And the ki which is flowing inside that meridian is also invisible. So in this context, we were telling the ki is invisible, but body is visible. Body is visible. So body is made out of what? Body is made out of what? Body is also made out of ki. Because the entire universe is made out of ki. Right? So, but body is visible. So, some combination of ki is visible and some combination of ki is invisible. So, ki exists in both visible form and invisible form. Clear? So, this is body is visible and the meridian is invisible. So the ki has both the forms, visible and invisible. Clear? Just like your phone has two things. Say this is a physical aspect which you can see, but the signals which is through which the phone is communicating, it is invisible. So when both visible and invisible come together, you have a good functioning phone. If you remove the invisible, will the phone function? Right? No, it won't function. Instead of removing the invisible, you remove the visible. Will the phone function? No. Even if you remove the signal or you remove the handset, you will not have a functioning system. You require both visible and invisible systems to make it one complete, one functioning unit. Right? Make sense? I need to say, at least those who have switched on your cameras, you should nod. You should not get distracted and you should nod or type yes. You are eating. No, I am talking. No, you switch on the camera and now you are eating nicely some stuff. Is it right? And you are talking here and there. No, you should be studious. If you are eating, switch off your cameras. Okay. Okay, only those who are studious, you switch on your cameras. Okay. Okay. So the ki has two types. The ki is of two types. One is superficial bioenergy, okay, or heavenly ki. Okay, this is an invisible ki, okay, which is on this superficial level, okay, or we also call it as heavenly ki. And we have deep bioenergy or bio ki, which we call it as earthly ki. It is more visible in nature. Okay. Say now the moon is there, or say the earth is there, and Earth's electromagnetic signals are influencing the body. Is it influencing the body or not? It is influencing the body, right? So can you see that electromagnetic signals of the earth? You cannot. So it is an invisible energy which is influencing the body. Now you are say drinking water and the water is influencing the body. Can you see the water? You can. So that is a visible form of ki. Okay. So there are two types of ki. One is visible, and other one is invisible. So the visible is called earthly ki. It is more of visible things that we consume. Okay. All visible aspects, and other things are called invisible things are called heavenly ki. Okay. And when both these two things come together, we get a fully functional human body. Okay. Now, just like there was, say there is a pipe, and inside the pipe there is water which is flowing. Okay, there is a pipe, and inside the pipe water is flowing. So similarly, there is meridian, and inside the meridian what is flowing? Ki or chi is flowing. So now, for time being, understand this pipe as the meridian, and this what is flowing through that pipe is the chi or ki. And now with this we will try to understand different permutation and combinations of ki. So imagine this line, the orange dotted line is the normal level. Okay, so say if there is a pipe and that is a normal level up to which the water is supposed to flow. Okay, and now if there is more water than this normal level, we call it as excess ki. So meridian is there, and in the meridian more ki is flowing than what is supposed to flow. So we call it as, what do we call that situation as? What do we call? Excess ki situation. Okay. And the opposite side of that. So there is a normal line, and the amount of ki which is flowing there is less than normal. So it is less than normal. So what do we call this situation as? Deficient ki. So we call this as deficient ki. So if it goes down further from the deficient ki stage, it goes down further, then we call it as sinking. The ki is sinking. If the ki goes down further than sinking, we call it as ki is collapsing. Right? So from the normal, if it goes above, we call it as excess. From normal, if it comes down, we call it as deficient. And if it comes down below deficient, we call it as sinking. And if it comes down below sinking, we call it as collapse. Clear? This part is clear? I should see some heads nodding. Okay, so if you see here, there is only in the collapse, there is only very, very little amount of ki which is flowing. Now, there is a pipe, and in the pipe, water should be flowing, right? And if the water is not flowing and the water is just sitting, Shaili ji, aap video band karna. You close your video because you are eating food. Okay, so there is pipe, and in that the water is supposed to flow, but water is not flowing. It is stuck. It is sitting. Now that situation where in the meridian, the ki is not flowing, but it is sitting, stuck. It is that situation, we call it as stagnation. So if you see here, the ki is supposed to move in this direction, but it is not moving. It is kind of stuck. Okay, it is called as stagnation. So why stagnation happens? The major cause is your mind. When it gets stuck, when the mind gets stuck in some situation or in some person or something, when the mind gets stuck, the energy flow in the body also gets stuck. Okay, somebody is under severe stress. What is happening? Day and night, they are only thinking about that situation. the mind is totally stuck. So what will happen to their energy flow in the body? It will move smoothly, it will flow. It will also get stuck. So that situation where the energy flow in the body is stuck, we call it as stagnation. Okay. And if the energy is supposed to move in this direction, in the pipe, but it is moving in this direction, in the opposite direction, then we call it as contravection. Okay. So when you eat the food is supposed to go downwards into the stomach. But if the food comes out in the form of vomiting, what do we call that as? Contravection or rebellious key. It is in the opposite direction. We can call it as rebellious key or contravection. So the energy is supposed to move, but something is obstructing it. So only partial energy is moving. Okay, one side it is more and other side it is less. So we call it as obstruction. The key is obstructed. Okay, so this you all understood. So different types of flow of key in the meridian. Different types of flow of key in the meridian. Normal flow, if it is excess, it is excess above the normal. If it is below the normal, if it is deficient, and if it is further below than the deficient, it is sinking, and if it is further below than the sinking, it is collapse. Okay, and next is the energy is not moving, it is kind of stuck because the mind is also stuck. This situation is called stagnation. If the energy is supposed to move in this direction, but the energy is moving in the opposite direction, we call it as contravection. And if there is some kind of obstruction, so the energy is more in one side and the energy is less on the other side, so it is called as obstruction. What is an example of an obstruction? What is an example of an obstruction? See, if there is some kind of a node, okay, say, let us say the urinary tract is there, okay, and in that urinary tract, kidney stone comes and gets stuck. So now the urine is not flowing smoothly. What is that situation? The urinary tract is obstructed by a stone, right? Is that stagnation? Is that situation stagnation? No, right? So stagnation is a different scenario. This situation where something is blocking the flow, this is called as obstruction. And a heart blockage is also an obstruction. Okay, so in your gallbladder, gallbladder stone comes and it is not allowing the bile to flow smoothly. This is also an obstruction. Okay. If stone blocks fully, is it stagnation? See, when something is blocked, when something is blocking fully, then it will stagnate the flow. The energy will not flow properly. You can call it as stagnation at that time, but that is not a regular stagnation. Okay, it is more of a stagnation. You will understand more when I talk about liver key stagnation, etc. But it is stagnation which turns into obstruction. Yes. In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. Okay. In some cases, yes. In some cases, No. Okay. So we are coming close to the end of today's session. So meridian, etc., we will discuss in some other. How to treat, it is a different situation. So we will not answer that. So I have two doubts: how to get intuition, how to connect inhalation and kidney via DCM. Okay, see, okay, I will. Somebody is very curious to understand why kidney is for inhalation. How many of you are curious to understand that? Okay, fine. See, let me come to the screen. Okay. You are able to see the screen. Okay, you can see my screen, right? See, okay. See, what is the lungs? Lungs is having, like it has, say, the main flow things are coming, and from there are branches. Okay. And in that branches, like, so you have branches. So at the end of the branch, you have one small alveoli. Forgive me about my spell. So it is a small balloon, okay, where the gases gets exchanged. The oxygen and carbon dioxide gets exchanged. So alveoli is like a small balloon. So there are many small balloons which, when you inhale, it expands, and when you exhale, it contracts. So a small balloon. Now, in your childhood, you all would have blown a balloon. Okay, you would have blown a balloon. To blow a balloon, which method is an easy method? Which method is an easy method? When you just hold one end and when you blow it, or when you expand the balloon from both the ends and when you blow like this. So when you expand the balloon with both the hands and when you blow, it is much easier to blow rather than when you hold it in one end, isn't it? So if there is a balloon, then if you anchor it in both the places, expand it, then it becomes much easier to blow. Now, similarly, now all these tiny alveoli which are there, it needs two anchors. So one anchor is lungs, and the other anchor is kidney. So in an energy level, it is anchoring to expand the alveoli and the oxygen goes in. So the inhalation happens. And then the anchor is left. So what happens? Now only the exhalation is supposed to happen. So only the lungs will take care. Okay, now the energy, kidney's energy is not required. So the exhalation happens. So for inhalation, 2 anchors to expand, and to exhale, it is just 1 anchor, that is the lungs. Make sense? Does it make sense? No? Tell me yes, no. Some people are saying no. Nias VK. See, why kidney is responsible for inhalation? There can be 100 different reasons. Okay, why kidney for inhalation? There can be 100 different reasons. In that, I have given you one reason which I think makes sense to me. No textbook tells this. Okay, there is no, at least I have not gone through a textbook which explains this. So, but there are 99 other reasons for kidney to be inhaling. And who will find that? Who will find that 99? You all will find it. Will you? Will you? Yes, no. You will find it? Or somebody else will give you spoon feed you and you will only eat. Only that you will do, or you will also earn the knowledge and feed others. Right? So I have given you one reason. So next time when we meet, probably, let me see how many of you will find other reasons why kidney is there for inhalation. See, it is at an energy level. Say when the kidney is not functioning as per us, what is kidney failure? It is not able to produce urine, filter out and create urine. That is kidney failure as per Western medicine. But kidney is still there, no? It is alive. Kidney is alive or it is dead? Kidney is alive. So it is doing its other functions. Okay, great. So I think we have crossed the today's time. So I hope you all enjoyed today's class. Did you all enjoy the class?
Sure.
Okay.
Actually, we will continue the session for 1 or 2 or more sessions in nearby future when we'll get the free time in Joshi's Kerala group. So many are interested in this subject.
Great.
Actually, we have completed the 5 elements, 5 energies, and somewhat to the meridians. And next class, we have to find out the organs related to and some energy imbalances also. Thank you so much.
It was
Sir.
my pleasure.
Yeah. No, actually, we should be grateful to you.
Thank you.
Today, we have no session from Basaraj sir. At that time, Joshi sir contacted you and very much interested, and you're ready to give this session. And this is very much knowledgeable and helpful for the people. Those are already in this path also. This will be very helpful. Thank you, Krishnamurti ji. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Joshi sir, for this wonderful selection of the person and this class. Thank you all participants. Thank you so much.
So, good night.
Surely we will meet again for continuation of this class.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a wonderful session. And
Thank you so much, sir.
basic knowledge is so much necessary. So it was really helpful to understand what is what in the basic level and how to diagnose in the basic level. So very much thankful to you and in gratitude for this today's session, sir. Grateful to you. Thank you. Thank you, Joshi, sir. Thank you, Lalita, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
you all. Thank you all. Good night.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot,
very
sir.
much, sir.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much
sir.
for
Thank you
all
so
your
much.
generous.
Thank you, sir.
You can continue with all your queries in the group. Okay, he will be always ready in the group to give all the.
You can post it in the.
Yeah, sure.
I can answer that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And good
Thank you,
night.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.